Hey everyone, my name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. If you like making money, if you want to be in the most undervalued assets that the world has to offer, click subscribe, give me a thumbs up, leave comments below if you guys have any comments or questions. I'm going to still, again, talk about electric vehicles and how they perhaps might not be as dominant as most people think going into the future. Obviously, we're going to have strong growth in electric vehicles. I'm not doubting that. But I want to talk about electric vehicles and kind of internal combustion engines because I'm getting a lot of questions on this about investments, about platinum, about precious metals. So I just want to make sure everything's covered here. So this is called electric vehicles. I'm going to kind of go over some sales outlooks. So sales outlook, what did the sales outlook look like for electric vehicles and internal combustion engines? With the growth of car sales worldwide, will BEV take the lion's share of sales away from internal combustion engines? And what we see here is the outlook for annual global passenger car and light duty vehicle sales to 2030. It's about 75%, or this is 75 million cars, not percent, 75 million cars here. And it's about the same, not too different at 2030 as it was from 2010. So there's going to be a little bit of a hit with internal combustion engine cars. And the growth of the cars are mainly going to be in battery electric vehicles and for the PHEV vehicles. And you can see the EV share, it's a little bit over 25% in 2030. Here is another source. This is Bloomberg. So the 2030s here, we've got 2040, and you can see that this kind of ramps up and then it really flattens out. It doesn't just keep continuing to ramp up, but you can see that the growth of just new car sales is going way higher. Internal combustion engines, it doesn't look like they lose too much ground, maybe a little bit. And this is obviously the electric vehicles here, but it does really start to flatten out. And there's reasons for that, and we can get into that. Outlook for EV market share by major region. You can see these things really start to take off to the upside 2030. This is the US EV market, Europe, China, and then the EV global share of sales. So EV growth beyond 2030. Beyond 2030, we expect the rate of growth in EV sales to slow. Some markets will be unable to support the transition to EVs in the same way that wealthier nations will be over the next decade. Consider that beyond 2030, one of the key factors is sustaining growth will be the implementation of suitable charging infrastructure. And it's also the electrical grid infrastructure. So in countries that cannot invest in charging infrastructure, we expect the market for ICE vehicles to remain for some time. And I just have this as kind of a fact here. This is consumer priorities for EV adoption 2018 to 2020. And you can see that perceptions have changed for driving range. It's not as big of a deal in some of the areas. It is a big deal in Italy, but it's mainly become more favorable in all of the countries. For the driving range, the cost price premium starting to come down, so people are seeing that and recognizing that. The time required to charge, they're also recognize that a little bit, but that seems more of a flat or it's getting worse over time. The lack of electric vehicle charging infrastructure, that is still a concern for a lot of people, and it's gone up, not down in the majority of these. Safety concerns with battery technology, kind of flat, but they've actually gone up for a lot of them. So that's kind of what the perceptions are. The conclusion here, I know this is going to be a short clip, but PGMs will still be heavily used in new car sales. The ICE will still dominate car sales worldwide past the year 2030. And when I mean by dominate, I don't mean like dominate EV things, but they will be the lion's share of car sales. Electric vehicles are not going to be the lion's share. Investments in oil will be needed to sustain growth in these markets. They're also going to be using oil in the internal combustion engine cars. Electrical power grids needs major investment worldwide if we want to really ramp the electric vehicles and charging from battery electric vehicles. All productions of homes, cars, minerals, renewables will rely on fossil fuels for a very long time. So that's what I think. I just wanted to go over this kind of electric vehicles. I know some people are like, well, what about my oil investments? What about my platinum investments? What about silver? I just wanted to go through and show you kind of this is what the numbers look like for electric vehicles looking out 10, 20 years. And right now, from what I can tell, we're not going to make a big enough dent to really take away from natural gas, from oil, at least not for another 10 years at least. So I think this next commodity bull market's still going to run. It's still going to be a very large one, and I don't think electric vehicles are going to disrupt those investments. If you guys like this content, give me a thumbs up, leave comments below, and thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.